Donald Trump's bold stance on immigration taking center stage at the Fox Business debate. He is facing stiff criticism for supporting a deportation force if he's elected president. Trump is not backing down. He doubled down on his controversial policy when he spoke to Maria Bartiromo this morning.
Every arena is sold out with thousands and thousands of people. When I say I'm going to build a wall and I'm going to, create a border, we're going to create an actual border, because right now we don't have one. And I get my biggest ovations when I talk about the wall.
Joining me now, James Rickards. He's the author of The Death of Money. We've got Steve Moore, Heritage Foundation Distinguished Fellow, Erick Erickson, founder of RedState.com and Fox News contributor, and Gina Loudon, she's a conservative columnist. Now, James, do you think Trump has the right idea here?
I do think it's the right idea. You know, this is one of the few issues, kind of the open borders that unite Republicans and Democrats. The Democrats are supported by trial lawyers and Silicon Valley progressives. The Republicans are supported by big business. But they have one thing in common, which is the exploitation of labor. They actually like this cheap labor. It's one of the reasons the Republicans don't do anything about it. They talk a good game. Trump is the only one who's representing the people, kind of the working man, the everyday American, working man and woman. So he is on the right track. Now, you can't deport 11 million people, but you could start with one, the hardcore criminals, the most recalcitrant. You could actually start to move in the right direction.
Yeah, that's right. And, Erick, here's the thing. There has been moves already. The courts have approved the deportation, as James has noted, of hundreds of thousands of criminals. It's really illegal immigrants, by the way. It's not happening, though.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I just want to say and commend Fox Business again for setting the gold standard for presidential debates. It really was the best debate we've had this year. Really proud of you guys.
Well,
and Donald Trump's statement. Yeah, absolutely. Donald Trump's statement about the wall. I'm a big fan of his plan for the wall, but I don't know that we need, based on what he said, I'm still unclear, but it sounds like a new government agency of agents to round up 11 million people and take them away. We know from history if he creates a new one, it's never going to go away. We're probably never going to round up all 11 million, but he absolutely can start with a lot of people in jail and maybe take on those sanctuary cities.
Yeah, let's lay this out for the viewer. 11 million people, Gina, that's about the size of Ohio. I mean, and also a lot of these workers are out in farm country, and a lot of those people out there do not like big government. If you have any indication, or there's any indication it's looking like a police state, that's not going to play well.
Well, that's the thing. You don't have to deport all 11 million. I saw this in Marshall County, Alabama, only threatened to deport them. Immediately, unemployment went down, jobs went up, and people self-deported because they didn't want to get in trouble. So once you start saying, hey, we're going to enforce the rule of law, people go about their way. People figure it out and they go home. And so that's, I think, what Trump is really talking about. You wouldn't have to deport 11 million.
So what do you think, Steve?
I think Republicans are crazy to talk about the word deportation. If they keep talking about it, they're going to lose the election. I mean, deportation is incredibly, it's just so, such an awful term for Hispanics and immigrants that the ones that are here legally are just turned off by it. I think it's what cost the election for Romney in 2012.
I disagree, Steve. I don't know how you could say that when you look at there are 30 million legal immigrants who went through the system who are very excited at the idea of someone waiting their turn in line and becoming a country of laws again.
Well, okay.
How can you say that? The 30 million people are going to vote too.
Let me tell you how I can tell you that. Because in the last election, Mitt Romney got less than 30% of the Hispanic vote. This is not a hard election to figure out. Republicans have to get 40% of the Hispanic vote if they're going to win.
Look at the number of people that are supporting Donald Trump. And the reason people are supporting Donald Trump, Steve, is because of his initial statement that he came out of the box with about illegal immigration.
By the way,
it's a huge issue.
Steve, the reason Romney lost the election is 5 million evangelicals stayed home. That's why he lost the election.
That's true, too. That's true.
Well, that's 5 million
but
votes.
he got a record, I mean, let's be honest about this. He got a record low percentage of Hispanic votes. If he had gotten 40 like George Bush had gotten, rather than 28%, he would have been president.
Erick, a final word to you. Here's the thing. If you try to do this, if you think it through, how this would actually play out if Donald Trump was elected and he did what? Homeland Security or immigration agents coming in to the hinterlands to take people away from their families. The thing is, these workers, they could be subject to abuse if there's any indication. It could turn people also into immigration informants as well. It just, you know, when you think it through, I'm not sure how this plays out. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, you know, there are a lot of people, American citizens, who have been abused, and some lost their lives because of illegal immigrants. I think Ted Cruz is right that we're not opposed to immigration, but illegal immigration. At the same time, as an evangelical, I've got a real hard time telling someone who's been here for 40 years and has laid down roots that, okay, the only thing you've ever done wrong is you crossed the border illegally, you've made yourself a home here, built a business here, you got a family here, we got to round you up and send you home. I don't think that image plays well. Sending grandma home, the party of families don't necessarily need to break up people.
Okay, we got to leave
families.
it there. Sorry, James, we got to move on. Sorry, we got a hard wrap coming. Ben Carson going after Donald Trump's deportation plan, saying that he thinks it will hurt him in the long run. So, Steve, is Trump's plan, you know what, here's the thing, and I think you were speaking about this earlier. I mean, you're worried, it seems, Steve, that, you know, Donald Trump's plan does not really represent the Republican agenda. It feels like big government.
Well, look, there's a big divide within the Republican Party about this. I mean, there's no question about it. Look, I don't have a problem with building a wall. I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference. American people want a wall. We should build it. And look, criminals who are here illegally, absolutely, let's deport them. But what I'm not hearing from Republicans, look, we know how to reduce illegal immigration, and that's let's have a jobs program, you know, like a program like they had in the 1950s when we allowed a lot of these farm workers to come in the country legally, not illegally. That's the kind of program we should have, a guest worker program.
James, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I favor legal immigration. I agree with Steve on that, but the Republican Party doesn't. Well, I agree that Trump's not in sync with the Republican Party because the Republican Party wants the open borders. They want this cheap labor. By the way, I was in Israel with my teenage children during the Intifada when they were blowing up discos and nightclubs, and they built a wall, and that wall worked. That wall stopped those bombings in Israel. So don't tell me walls don't work.
Well, here's the thing, you know, Gina, if you do a wall, it's an eminent domain issue. It's a property takings, right? I mean, that's also big government. We got a lot of ranchers out there who would be very mad about it, right? Their property would be transected there.
As Trump even said in the Fox Business debate, you know, this is what we do. We protect our sovereignty. This is what every country in the world does. And let's not forget that according to Investors Business Daily and a lot of other polls actually that I've looked at, 59% of American people want them deported. So I'm not sure the word deportation is such a bad thing.